Hello students, welcome to the next session of the ITC and CN. We're discussing the unit number 1, that is nothing but the source coding. So let's proceed with the some of the information theory and the source coding. Now we are going to discuss how exactly the information theory comes in the picture. So here when we talk about the information theory, we need to talk about the Shannon. He is one of the greater scientist who has invented this concept called as information theory. So he has introduced this concept in 1948. So where he invented it like a information theory. The name firstly given was information theory. So afterwards, further research is taken place on the same concept. But what exactly he stated in that particular paper, that is IEEE paper, which was published with the title that is information theory. So we will see what exactly he stated over there. He stated that transmission of information through a channel can be done at any rate less than the capacity of that channel with arbitrary small error. It means if we pass the information through, let's say, this particular channel, it will get passed provided this particular information should be passed with a rate less than the capacity of that particular channel. Means if the capacity of this channel is only to have the, let's say, 300 beats per second, then we must pass 300 beats per second only, or less than 300, but we cannot pass 350, 320, otherwise it will provide obviously the error and loss of transmission will take place. So this is what he clearly suggested in his theory as well as in his entire research. Let's see what are the different types of sources we have. So we do have the availability of the different types of sources, like the sources analog such as audio and video, similarly the discrete such as PC generated data or the PCM output. So these are the two sources which you can justify. But if we want to configure a mathematical model for this one, it is quite difficult to configure it because the nature of the source is quite random. What exactly it is? Information produced by any source is random. So since it is very random information that is produced by any source, for discrete, the information source with m different letters or digits given by x1 to xm. So let's assume that if there is one source which is generating x1 to xm all these different messages with the probability p of x1, p of x2 till p of xm. So if this is the case, then we can just write down the sum of all the probabilities which are being generated by this source will be equal to 1. So obviously p of xj, this particular term indicates when j is equal to 1, it will be p of x1. So it indicates simply that when I add p of x1, p of x2, p of x3, addition of all the probabilities must be 1. Then only we can conclude that it is giving the faithful result. Okay, now let's concentrate on what exactly the discrete memoryless source. We have discussed this one in the earlier session also, but let's have the refreshment of the same topic. So here discrete memoryless source is also called as a DMS. So this DMS is basically doesn't require any memory as it is specified, because of the nature that it concentrates only on the current output or the current stage rather than concentrating on the past and the future outputs. So that is what specified with respect to the function, that is y is equal to fx or f of x. Now when we want to concentrate on the other aspects, that is discrete stationary source, it can be well analyzed. So discrete stationary source, that is DSS, if the joint probability of two sequences of length n are identical for all n greater than equal to 1, and for all shifts like M, then we can say it is nothing but the discrete stationary source. Let's proceed for getting what exactly the uncertainty and the information. We discussed this point in the earlier sessions also, but let's have the discussion with respect to the example uncertainty and the information. For that one, we will go with two examples. First example, press the switch and the bulb will glow or it will be on. Second, there will be a snowfall, let's say in Kopergaon, after 30 minutes. So out of these two statements, I need to identify that which statement is carrying more information. Now for that, to identify which statement carries more information, I need to study first of all what is the uncertainty for each and every event or the each and every statement. So uncertainty for the first statement is very less. I can say almost it is 0, but for the second it is very good. Then I can go for analyzing the second statement rather than analyzing the first one. So conclusion from these two statements is very clear. So example 2 is more uncertain than the first, since 2 carries a lot of information with it and length of sentence has nothing to do with the amount of information it conveys. So to develop a relation between the information and uncertainty, it is quite obvious that information is directly proportional to the uncertainty. If uncertainty is more, then information carried will be more. Similarly, if I want to comment with respect to the probability of occurrence of event, I is inversely proportional to the probability of occurrence of event. So it can be summarized like I inversely proportional to P. Now to have the discussion in terms of the random variable. So when we comment regarding the random variable, discrete random variable specifically, so if you just take the reference of the Simon-Hacking, you will find that for the S domain space, if it is ranging from minus infinity to plus infinity, the probability is ranging from 0 to 1 only. So that is nothing but the identity of any discrete random variable. Let's say it is X. So for any S domain space, it should satisfy these two conditions. So consider a discrete random variable capital X with possible outcomes. So these are the outcomes xi, where I is ranging from 1 to n. So for this one, if I say that the self information of the event x equal to xi is defined as, so what is its definition? It is very simple. I of xi is equal to log 1 upon p of xi. This is obviously to the base 2. So this can be referred as a minus log p of xi, just after suppressing this 1, where probability is ranging from 0 to 1. Now conclusions which we can brought from this particular statement, that is nothing but high probability of event conveys less information than the low probability event. For an event with probability 1, information carried will be 0. So same is provided in the second conclusion, okay, only in a different way. Now what are the units that we can specify for the self information or I of x? So its unit can be determined by the base of log 2 log. So if it is 2, unit will be bits. If it is e, it will be natural units. So for this, let's have the additional conclusions. If probability is ranging from 0 to 1, information will be always positive. Either it will be 0 or greater than 0. It will never be non-negative. Now the unit specifies measure of information. Following examples illustrate why a log measure of information is appropriate. To deal up with the block of bits, log reduces calculation and shows portability. We will see it with respect to the example. Let's discuss the example in the next session. Right now you just take a note of this one, that this is what the example which we are going to discuss. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much.